Hey everyone, it's Justin. Thank you for watching and welcome to my house. In this video, I want to explain the difference between a function field and a calculated field in ServiceNow. In order to illustrate this, I created a table called Demo Table, and I've got 4 fields on it plus an extra field. So basically, let's take a look here. I've got one integer. You can see there integer A. Then just below that, I've got integer B. And below that, I've got a calculated sum and a function sum. And I want to show you the difference between these two. So nothing fancy going on with the integers, they're just integers. But let's take a look at this calculated sum. The calculated sum is a calculated field in ServiceNow. It's just a little checkbox you check in order to make it calculated. In fact, it's not even showing on the form here. Let me put it on here so you can see that. I'm going to put it over there on the right hand side above underneath function because when I was creating it, I could actually do it, but it's just not showing it on that particular view right there. Oh, let's go to global, and I want calculated, and we'll move that up to just below function field. How about that? So they both show right next to each other. So this calculated field is calculated, and I have actually calculated using a script. And the script looks at integer A, integer B, sums them, and returns that value. So you see this is a calculated field. Let's go look at the calculated value. I've got calculated sum is the current integer underscore A plus integer underscore B, and then it returns the calculated sum. Simple enough, right? Easy scripting there. And that's what gives me a number. But let's look at the function field. The function field, not a calculated field, does the same thing but uses a function. So notice calculated is not checked, but function is checked right here. And the function definition, since we're not doing calculated, we'll do function definition, is just going to do glide function colon add parentheses integer A comma integer underscore A comma integer underscore B close paren. All right, so that's going to calculate the sum there as well. So let's take a look at what that looks like if we go to the table. So I'll go to here and we'll just make a new one. I've got an entry in there, but I'll make a new one just for us in this video. I'm going to put a new row in this table so we'll see those calculations perform real time. So for integer A, I'm going to use 5. Integer B, I'm going to use 5. And watch what happens. The sum function, let's see, let's try that again. Let's open that again. I wanted to save and not submit. There we go. So I got integer A is 5, integer B is 5, and notice some function is 10 and some calculated is 10. So they both do the same thing, they just work a little bit differently. They've calculated the same value, but I want to show you why you may or may not want to use function versus calculated. And to do that, I'm going to add 1 to each of these sums. So I've got a function sum plus 1, which is what's showing now, and a calculated sum plus 1, which is not what's not showing. What's showing now is that it can't do this. It's a functional error. And let me get into why. Let's go define this dictionary item on sum plus 1. We'll see that it's trying to sum the functional sum plus 1. So you can see that here. I've got glide function, add 1, the number 1, and then the sum function, that field. And that's what's generating an error. So let's do it so it doesn't generate an error. We'll use the calculated field instead. So we'll change function to calculated and hit update. And that should take me back to my form, and I should have no error message. It's going to show 11. So it's able to take the 10 and add 1 to it and get to 11. But if we do that, let's look at this field here. Sum function, sum underscore function is the name of the field. So let's go configure the dictionary again to that sum plus 1, and we'll change this from sum calculated to sum function. And it is not going to work. It's not going to be able to calculate 10 plus 1. Why? Because 10 isn't stored in the database for a function field. Only calculated fields are stored in the database. So this number up here, this number 10, doesn't exist except at runtime. So only when you query this record and show it on the screen does it show that number 10. For a calculated field, it is calculating that field and storing it in the database so that it's there to be used for other things, like this calculation that we're showing here. So that's the big difference. If you want to use that particular field for something else, then you probably want a calculated field. But if it's just for display purposes and you're not trying to do any further calculations or retrieve that value somehow, then function is going to do you. But if you want to do something with it like I'm doing here and have that value plus 1 and the sum plus 1, that's when you want a calculated field. Yes, there's other reasons why or not to use function or calculated, but for my purposes, I was working on a proof of concept and I ran across this conceptually difference of, hey, I need a calculation, and I was like, oh, which one do I need? And I was like, let me share this with YouTube so other people might benefit. The difference between a function field in ServiceNow and a calculated field in ServiceNow. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, please subscribe, or share it with somebody who you think might be interested in doing field calculations in their tables in ServiceNow. And until next time, don't forget to always be learning.